It is 6:02. That worked miraculously well. Welcome back to WRFL Lexington. This is the WRFL talk show, where we talk about where we bring in each week one new DJ and talk to them about their DJing, what it means to them, what it do, what it be, all that good stuff. This week I got in Darin King. How's it going, Darin?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah. How are you? What'd you do this weekend?
Oh, I just hung out with the family all weekend. Had a nice Thanksgiving feast and tried not to go anywhere.
Yeah. Stay in Lexington, then I take it.
I live in Cynthiana, actually.
Oh,
so
okay.
Stayed home in Cynthiana.
Ooh, nice.
I guess. It's not much there.
Well, that's all right. Some solitude is always good. Right now, we're not listening to Mulatu at Statke as I normally would. This is
Catawampus Universe.
Catawampus Universe. Dragon whips its tail. I like that.
Good stuff.
Sweet, and this is gonna be playing for a while, so I like it. I'm ready to play it over my the talks that we're gonna have. I'm such a of a lower level DJ in my mind that I don't have continuous music playing over everything that I play all the time, and it's sometimes it's just things that don't really I don't know. I feel like I'm so almost perfectionist that I can't figure out a perfect vibe to fit with whatever I want to talk about.
Oh yeah. I guess it's just not for everybody's style, I guess, to have music in the background.
Yeah. Do you feel that way? Do you usually find something that's
I almost always talk over something, and I kind of just make my voice go to whatever music I'm playing. So sometimes it's kind of fun to be theatrical to whatever vibe the song is.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Well, we're here. You're here. I guess both of us actually are here because we're here. We're doing the things. Because we're both DJs for this wonderful station. Tell me about your show. What time is your show? What's the name of your show?
My show is the Records Division. It's on 8 to 10 Sunday nights. And I just focus on different themes every week. Last night's theme was a tribute to an old WRFL show called The Belfry by Dave C. It used to come on Thursday afternoons. It's kind of a alt classic rock show.
Nice.
So that was the theme last night. I just kind of pick a random theme every week and delve into it.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking at your playlist, and I was seeing that. I was seeing I saw Pink Floyd and Clash and a couple others, and without trying to get into what every exact thing that you played.
Try to cover a pretty wide spectrum of stuff. But one week it may be all 80s R&B, and the next week it could be harsh noise. Who's to say?
Do you often try to cover same kind of genre of other WRFL DJs? Because you said it was a tribute to this show.
That show was last night's show, but I guess that's why I leave it open to do a different theme every week, because I like just about everything, and I don't want to focus on any one thing. So being able to pick a theme lets me spend a week or two delving into, this one vernacular, and then on a whim I can decide to do another theme and delve into that. And so far it's been a pretty fun way to just focus on stuff that I wouldn't normally play, if I had just a general show.
Do you it's pretty impressive to be able to switch around like that. Have you ever had difficulty with it?
No, not really. Back before this show, I used to do a show And my theme then was just kind of a random mix of everything all the time. Kind of like a week's worth of WRFL listening distilled down to 2 hours. But it would be like if I were the only DJ.
I like that.
Yeah, it was a pretty good show. I miss it.
So I always try to make the point that a lot of WRFL DJs are not necessarily are not students. Obviously,
Absolutely never been a student.
absolutely never been a student. You're here. You're a community member.
Yeah, 100%. I remember WRFL coming on the airwaves when I was in high school in Bourbon County in the late 80s, and was all about it because I didn't have much in Bourbon County that I
Wanted
felt,
to hang on to.
Yeah, not much substance there. But so I was always a fan, listened a lot, and then I think it was 2000. I did a training and had a summer show.
Nice. Have you been on ever since?
No, I didn't get a full-time show until 2003. And then I was on for about 10 years, from 2003 to 2013. And then I was off for a few years, and I just started back this last summer.
Gotcha. Well, geez, long-time listener, long-time fan then.
Oh, yeah. I was, I remember in high school, the specific metalhead, I don't remember his name, but when he came up and told me about WRFL being on the airwaves, and I went and immediately checked it out. And we lived out in the country, so you couldn't really pick it up in most of our house. But we had like this intercom in the kitchen that had speakers in all the rooms, and that would pick it up. So I could listen to WRFL on the intercom in the kitchen and then put it on like the whole house, basically, which
Jam
was pretty
out
great.
the whole house. Yeah.
And then I had one radio up in my room, and I can't remember if I did something funky with the antenna, but it kind of came in. It was a little staticky. I used to tape episodes of different shows.
Did you have a lot of? So you kept up with a lot of the shows, a lot of the DJs weekly.
I mean, I don't know like how you would define kept up with. I don't remember who they were, or I just remember some tapes of some pretty fun stuff that I heard and happened to tape and listen to a bunch. I brought some records down, some stuff that I remember being on those tapes.
Nice.
I'd just tape over other stuff, and I remember I was getting out of like building hobby like cars, and, like, painting the cars and stuff, and I had all these paints. So I like hand painted all these tapes, like different crazy psychedelic designs.
Yeah.
I probably had 20, 30
Wow.
WRFL show tapes
That's
were
awesome.
like recorded on this staticky radio, so they were all like shh.
Music coming in through the static all the time. That's awesome.
There's not much to listen to out there in Bourbon County.
Is that what I mean? Did your, you were in high school then? Were you? By then you had already, had some sort of developed taste in music.
I mean, I grew up with classic rock radio and 80s hits and stuff. And I didn't start figuring out other... Yeah, I guess in Bourbon County, there was like your black T-shirt quotient, it's your Metallica and your AC/DC and Van Halen and all that stuff. So, that was all well and good. It's cool stuff. And, and then, there's like the pop stuff, which, is kind of hit or miss back then. Mostly miss. Depended on your definition of cool, 'cause everything always depends on your definition of cool. But,
Right.
in high school, it started to be uncool to like that stuff. For me, anyway, because I was not necessarily cool.
Yeah.
But, so I always wanted to look for something that was off the beaten path. And I guess that's been, I've listened to almost any kind of music over the years, but that's been a recurring theme, is stuff that isn't necessarily well received or in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm always a little bit out of sync, I think, with what's hot.
Do you think that means that the things that you listen to or searched to listen to consume could ever be ever so popular as some of the other stuff?
Oh, sure. I like a lot of popular stuff, actually. But, I mean, the stuff that I focus on and really appreciate is the more off-the-wall stuff. I just think popular sensibilities are a little limiting.
Sure.
And stuff that's going to get popular always has a bit of a limiting factor to it as far as artistic expression. So I like pop music. It's great. I grew up on it. I still play shows dedicated to 80s pop music and stuff. But, like, new music coming out, like, interesting stuff, it's not really going to, for me anyway, not going to follow the pop formula or any formula per se. I think I like all genres, but I think once you break a genre down to itself, all of a sudden you've kind of come up with something a little boring.
Did any of your friends follow you along with this? And I mean, I don't know how small Bourbon County is. It was pretty small. I'd say that there was maybe 5 of us in high school that didn't fit into either the black T-shirt or the polo shirt club. And I'd say that all of those people are either would be listening to WRFL or are listening to like-minded stuff in other cities, wherever they are. Did you? So you generally think that WRFL is quite a unique thing?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I wouldn't know about, probably, I don't know what kind of percentile number I'd put on it, 80, percent. I wouldn't know about anything if it weren't for listening to WRFL over the years. It's been a major educator as far as the world of music out there. And, before WRFL, I was like getting into other stuff like old Pink Floyd albums, and I had all the Metallica albums. And the Beastie Boys were great. And I had I was into stuff. But I didn't really know what was out there. I was just a little kid growing up in suburban America. And
sure.
So like groups like They Might Be Giants, which I'm still a pretty big fan of currently. I first heard on WRFL. REM, I mean, they were kind of hitting the bigger spectrum anyway. I was probably going to be into REM anyway. I think I'd heard them before WRFL. But Ramones, Social Distortion, Dead Kennedys, Sugar Cubes, I mean, just any of the alternative stuff back then that was hot. And throughout the 90s and 2000s, it's always introduced me to a world that I wouldn't have known about without a lot of research that I don't necessarily have the time or inclination to do.
Sure. I mean, no, that's fair. It's always it's always super easy when somebody else does it for you.
Totally. And WRFL's just been an amazing platform over the years. The fact that there's always a live DJ, there's always 2 turntables, couple CD players. It's not just a Spotify playlist or whatever. It's somebody's actually picking out stuff to play it, and the fact that every 2 hours somebody new's in here, and the only stipulation is 1, keep it FCC legal, which obviously we hands are tied there. But other than that, the only stipulation is to play something that's not on mainstream radio, which is golden. I mean, you know, it's a huge world out there. And over the years, there's been tons of stuff on WRFL that I'm like, oh God, I can't listen to this. Turn it off. But I love it. I love it that it's playing on the radio, and that hundreds of other people are like, oh my God, turn it off. I can't stand it. That's just so beautiful to me.
Who's your favorite artist?
Warren DeFever of His Name Is Alive.
Ooh.
Which is little known band out of Michigan that's been around for about 30 years.
Golly.
And it's still pretty little known out of Michigan. It's big in Japan.
Interesting.
Maybe. I don't know.
So you've heard.
So I've heard, yeah. I've never been to Japan. But he's had his project, His Name Is Alive, for ages. But he's also produced and recorded countless amounts of other things all the time. And I'm usually a pretty big fan of whatever he's worked on.
I see. Well, would you like to play some music?
Sure.
It is 6:26.
I'm sitting here talking about Old Fire, and I'm not sure if I actually brought that release down here with me.
Oof.
Because that is what I would like to play. Yep, here it is.
Ooh. That's a good looking record.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's got a pretty cover.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Well, let's play it. Is there any particular track that you'd like to play? Oh, this is a really good. It's a really good cover.
The whole thing kind of runs together, track to track.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe start off on side 2.
Mm-hmm. Do you usually? Oh, that just feels so good. I love records. Do you usually listen to album by album, or is the? I feel like that's. Do you think that there's a difference between how people consume music now as to how they did back then?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you got a lot of purists who want to listen to an album in its entirety, you know, from beginning to end, which I'm that way with a lot of albums. And then you got a lot of people these days who's just 100% shuffle, you know, whatever they hear is on shuffle. And I mean, I'm a fan of just about anything. I usually keep my iPod on shuffle, but I shuffle full albums. So I'll end up hearing a full album, but as far as what may come on next, I usually leave that up to shuffle. Yeah. Because I get indecisive and I start looking at all the artists and I'm like, which one of these 4,000 artists am I going to pick to listen to? I just came up with that number. That's too many. That is probably an accurate estimate, though, of at least all the music that a person If I could fit everything onto the iPod, then possibly, yeah. Yeah. But it'll only hold so much, unfortunately. All right, well, let's get into this. I wanna hear what this beautiful record sounds like. Who is it again? Old Fire. I can't remember all the players on everything. It's got some different vocalists on some different stuff, but it's also very instrumental, a lot of it, and just kind of lush and pretty. I like it. I like it. I like it too. Well, let's give it a listen, shall we? Let's be sure to be right back, though. You're tuned all the way to the left. WRFL Lexington.